Have you ever felt that unmistakable, crushing weight in your chest? That profound sense that your heart is just too heavy, maybe even utterly broken,
Hmm.
and you find yourself adrift, really unsure of where to even begin looking for solace.
Hmm.
It's a feeling that, it isn't just a fleeting moment of sadness. It's more like an all-consuming ache that kind of permeates every corner of your existence.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can make the simplest things, the most mundane tasks feel like insurmountable mountains, and the world around you suddenly it just appears muted, distant, utterly irrelevant to your internal struggle.
Right.
But this isn't, well, it's not a unique burden. It's a deeply human experience, isn't it? Cutting across all walks of life, regardless of background or beliefs, it leaves you and so many others just desperately searching for some form of relief, some balm to maybe alleviate that overwhelming, isolating burden.
You've articulated that universal ache so perfectly. And indeed, this emotional state, this heavy or broken heart, it's certainly not a modern phenomenon. It's a common human condition. It's resonated through every epoch of history,
Yeah.
across every conceivable culture.
You see it everywhere, really.
Exactly. We see its echoes in ancient poetry and timeless literature, in art, even in those, quiet conversations we have with friends over coffee. When sorrow takes hold with that kind of intensity, it doesn't just affect our minds. It often manifests as significant physical weight.
Yeah, you could feel it.
You really can. A pressure settling on your chest, perhaps, tightening your throat, or just sapping your very breath and energy. It can leave you feeling entirely overwhelmed, impacting your ability to focus, to connect, even just to function day to day. It's a feeling that demands not only recognition, but critically, a path towards understanding, comfort, and ultimately healing.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because that feeling of profound overwhelm and that desperate search for comfort is precisely what we want to address today. Our mission for this deep dive is to explore a really fascinating avenue of ancient wisdom specifically, how it might offer comfort and healing for the heart.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be drawing insights from a particular source material, excerpts from Divine Balm for a Broken Heart, 3 verses that will heal your broken heart, KJV. This text promises to offer a truly unique perspective on navigating and ultimately transcending deep emotional pain.
Right.
So we're going to meticulously extract some powerful insights from these ancient scriptures, exploring how, from the source's perspective, they might speak directly to that universal, timeless experience of a broken heart.
Precisely. In the source material, Divine Balm for a Broken Heart, it explicitly states a bold claim that the Word of God has the power to comfort, restore, and heal the deepest wounds.
That's a big claim.
It is. So for a deep dive today, we're not approaching these King James Bible verses purely as, say, historical artifacts or solely within a strict religious academic box. Instead, as the source itself presents them, they're this rich, potent reservoir of insights into the very nature of human suffering and that age-old quest for solace. Our goal today is really to distill those practical nuggets of knowledge for you, the listener.
Yeah.
We want you to consider them, maybe find resonance with them, perhaps integrate them into your own journey, irrespective of your personal spiritual background.
And that's really what the deep dive is all about, isn't it? This deep dive is designed to offer you a shortcut to being well informed about a specific, deeply rooted approach to healing emotional pain. We'll be looking beyond just the surface level readings, searching for those surprising perspectives, profound truths that might challenge your assumptions a bit.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we'll deliver it with enough engaging conversation and maybe even a touch of relatable humor, where appropriate, to keep you thoroughly hooked on these ancient yet remarkably relevant ideas.
Absolutely. And to guide our exploration, we've structured our deep dive around 3 very specific verses. Each of these, as we'll uncover, offers a distinct yet profoundly interconnected layer of comfort and promise, according to our source material.
Okay.
Our aim is to ensure that you gain this knowledge quickly, thoroughly, and most importantly, without ever feeling overwhelmed by the information. We'll break down each verse, delve into its nuanced implications, and then carefully connect them all together to reveal how they form a truly comprehensive approach to finding comfort and healing in even the most difficult, distressing times.
So, how does this ancient wisdom begin to tackle that profound emptiness, that desolation we feel when our hearts are heavy? Our journey starts with a foundational promise, really a radical counterpoint to isolation, found in Psalm 34.118. It reads, "The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit." What immediately leaps out, and what our source powerfully emphasizes, is that opening declaration. The Lord is nigh unto them.
That word nigh, it's absolutely crucial in the King James Version, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels archaic but potent.
It does. In modern English, it simply means near or close.
Hmm.
So you could translate it as, the Lord is close to those who are brokenhearted. But, and this is key, the source material doesn't present this as just a distant intellectual acknowledgement of suffering or some mere metaphorical proximity.
Right.
Instead, it explicitly states it's an act of drawing near. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
In your lowest moments, when you're perhaps feeling most isolated, abandoned, or even forgotten, this concept directly challenges those crushing feelings.
It's a direct counter-narrative.
Exactly. It suggests that a powerful, compassionate presence actively moves toward you. It's a radical, often surprising shift from the common belief that one must endure deep pain in solitude. It transforms the experience from being alone with your pain to potentially being accompanied in your pain.
That's a truly powerful point about active drawing near. It makes me wonder, though, given how overwhelming deep sorrow can be, how does the source suggest one even perceives or, receives this divine proximity when they feel completely shut down?
That's a fair question.
Our source really hones in on this, elaborating that this reminds us that God does not stand far away when you are hurting. Instead, he draws close to the brokenhearted. Such a different perspective, isn't it? To consider that when you're in the absolute throes of deep sorrow, when you feel utterly disconnected from everything and everyone, there's a belief system that posits an active divine presence moving towards you. Just imagine the profound psychological and emotional difference this perspective offers compared to that crushing weight of feeling utterly alone in your suffering. It's a powerful counter-narrative to isolation.
What's truly fascinating here, and often quite surprising, I think, is the psychological and emotional impact of internalizing the belief in such a presence, one that the source says holds you.
Holds you. That's
Now, in moments of deep distress, the human mind, often in a protective but ultimately isolating mechanism, defaults to feelings of abandonment or profound loneliness. To introduce the concept of an actively drawing near, holding presence can be an immense source of comfort and even a cognitive reorientation. It's not just about an abstract theological idea, it's about the visceral feeling of being seen, acknowledged, and actively supported in your most vulnerable state.
It makes it very personal.
It does. You can compare it to the human experience of a deeply loved one's presence during a crisis.
Yeah.
Often they don't need to say a single word, right?
Just being there.
Just their silent, supportive presence alone, their hand on your shoulder, their quiet breathing beside you. That can be a powerful balm, a clear signal that you are not facing this alone. The source reiterates this tender, almost intimate imagery, stating, when your tears are falling, God is near, holding you in his presence. This specific tender imagery, particularly in moments of extreme vulnerability, suggests not just empathy but active, personal comfort rather than passive observation. It paints a picture of being cradled or embraced precisely when you feel most exposed and fragile, shifting the inner monologue from I am alone and forgotten to perhaps I am seen, held, and cared for. This reframing of isolation, regardless of one's specific spiritual framework, can itself be a potent mental tool for coping with profound grief.
That imagery of being held, especially when tears are falling, is incredibly potent. It shifts it from an abstract divine concept to something deeply personal and comforting. But the verse doesn't stop there, does it? It continues. And saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. So what exactly does contrite spirit imply in this context of a broken heart? Does it suggest like a condition for receiving this comfort or something else entirely?
That's a truly insightful question to unpack because contrite spirit is often misunderstood, I think.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like guilt or something.
It can, but here it refers to a heart that is deeply penitent, humble, or in the context of intense suffering, utterly broken and profoundly aware of its need for help. From the source's perspective, this state isn't about some kind of punitive requirement or a feeling of guilt. It's quite the opposite. It suggests a readiness to receive divine intervention, an openness to being ministered to.
Okay. So less about being sorry for something specific, more about acknowledging need.
Exactly. Think of it this way. When you're stubbornly trying to fix a complex problem entirely on your own, refusing any external help, you often stay stuck, right?
Definitely.
But when you finally acknowledge, I can't do this alone, I need help, you create an opening. A contrite spirit is that humble surrender of pride, a recognition of profound vulnerability, and an honest acknowledgement that one cannot mend themselves alone. This, the source suggests, is a crucial first step through healing, regardless of one's specific spiritual belief.
So it's about readiness.
It signifies an openness to receive comfort, a willingness to be helped, which is often a prerequisite for any kind of healing, be it emotional or physical. If you're rigidly trying to carry the burden alone, refusing comfort, the healing process often stalls. It's not about being punished for your brokenness, but about opening the door for the balm to enter.
So it's less about self-recrimination and more about being in a state of humble receptivity. It's almost as if acknowledging your own profound brokenness and letting go of any pretense of strength or self-sufficiency is what allows this divine presence to draw near and actively engage.
Precisely.
It's a willingness to be seen in your rawest state and to accept the hand that's offered.
Exactly. This implies that salvation or comfort, or more broadly, profound support and restoration, is extended most readily to those who are genuinely humble in their suffering. It suggests that a lack of pride or resistance, an unreserved admission of need, might actually be highly conducive to receiving support.
That's counterintuitive in some ways. We often think we need to be strong.
We do. But when we are truly broken, our usual defenses are often down, and that very vulnerability can create an opening for comfort and healing to enter. It's about becoming permeable to that divine presence and healing, rather than being a closed, rigid vessel. The surprising insight here is that vulnerability isn't a weakness to hide. It's the very gateway to receiving the deep comfort and assistance described in this ancient text. It asks us to consider, what might change if we leaned into our brokenness with humility, rather than fighting it with pride?
That sense of a comforting presence and the power of humble receptivity are profound, aren't they? But a broken heart often needs more than just companionship. It yearns for active restoration, for the pain itself to be addressed. That's exactly what our next insight promises, shifting from presence to powerful, deliberate intervention, found in Psalm 147.3. It declares, "He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds." Here, we see a clear and dramatic shift from mere presence to active, decisive intervention. He healeth. This isn't just about being with you in your pain, but about doing something about it, fundamentally changing your state.
You've highlighted the critical progression there perfectly. The active verbs in this verse are incredibly powerful and unmistakable. Healeth and bindeth up.
Very active.
Very active. The source presents God not just as an empathetic observer of pain, which we discussed with Psalm 34.18 as that foundational comfort, but as an active, engaged agent in its resolution. It states unequivocally, God is not just aware of your pain. He is the healer.
The healer, capital H.
Exactly. This means there's a deliberate, compassionate action being taken, an engagement with your suffering, specifically designed to alleviate it and mend what is broken. It's an assurance of active divine engagement in the painstaking process of recovery, a commitment to move you from a state of brokenness towards one of wholeness.
And that image of binding up their wounds, it's so tangible, so immediate, and so deeply personal. It invites you, the listener, doesn't it, to actively visualize this intimate act of tender care. It's not just conceptual healing, something abstract and distant, but something much more hands-on, almost like, well, divine first aid, if you will. What does that phrase truly evoke for you, beyond the literal?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the source provides a really illuminating analogy to help us visualize this.
Yeah.
It's like a loving physician caring for his child.
Okay, yeah, I can picture that.
Let's think about what a skilled, loving physician does when binding wounds, especially those of a child. It involves far more than just wrapping a bandage.
Right, much more.
It starts with gentle, careful assessment of the injury, understanding its depth and nature. Then comes cleaning the wound, a necessary step that can sometimes be uncomfortable, even painful, but is crucial for preventing infection and allowing true healing. Next, applying appropriate dressings, protecting it from further harm, and creating the right sterile conditions for the body to mend itself naturally.
It's a whole process.
It's a whole process. This implies a meticulous process of tender, focused care and attention. It's not an instant, magical eradication of pain. A physician doesn't just look at the wound and wish it well. They actively engage in its repair and recovery, understanding that healing takes time, patience, and careful management.
That's a really important point. Healing takes time.
It does. This analogy suggests that emotional wounds, much like physical ones, also require a process, a journey of time, careful tending, and protection. This verse, through the source's interpretation, implies a divine participation in that intricate, often gradual healing journey. It speaks to a thorough, compassionate, and sustained effort towards restoration, not just a momentary fix. The surprising insight here is the patience and process implied. It reframes healing not as just an event, but as a journey taken with a divine caregiver.
That distinction is absolutely crucial. It's not necessarily an overnight fix, something that wipes the slate clean immediately, but rather a dedicated, attentive process. And what a profound relief it must be to hear the source underscore the critical message that your brokenness is not permanent, healing is promised.
Hmm.
This offers such a vital counterpoint to that incredibly persistent and terrifying feeling that emotional pain will last forever, that this state of brokenness is your new, unchangeable, unending reality.
That's where the profound psychological and emotional relief contained in this promise truly comes into play. When one is deeply heartbroken, perhaps even despairing, the pain can feel unending, like a bottomless pit of suffering from which escape seems impossible.
Yeah, it feels like it will never end.
Exactly. The future often seems indistinguishable from the present suffering, as if there will be no end in sight. This verse, as presented by the source, offers a clear, unequivocal statement of hope, directly countering that feeling of dreadful permanence. It suggests that suffering has a definitive end, and that restoration is not just a vague possibility, but within this theological framework, it is an assured outcome.
An assured outcome. That's strong.
It is, and this raises an important question for you, the listener. How does the assurance of impermanence, the promise that this difficult period will not last forever, that your wound will not remain open indefinitely, how does that change one's ability to endure and their overall outlook during such a challenging time?
Yeah, does that knowledge itself give strength?
Does knowing there's an end in sight and a proactive healer actively involved shift your capacity to navigate the present pain? It transforms the experience from potentially a hopeless, solitary struggle to a journey with a hopeful, divinely guided destination, allowing you to endure with renewed courage and perhaps a sense of ultimate purpose. The surprising insight is how actively acknowledging the impermanence of pain can fundamentally alter our experience of the pain itself.
Okay, so far we've covered the comforting, active presence of the divine during our pain and the deliberate healing role of a divine caregiver. Now, for our third pillar of comfort, we turn to something incredibly distinctive, the unique gift of divine peace.
Ah, peace.
This brings us to John 14:27, a verse that truly stands apart in its offering. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid.
Hmm.
What immediately jumps out and what the source powerfully highlights is that distinct, almost challenging phrasing. Not as the world giveth. What does that mean?
What's truly fascinating here, and a point of deep distinction that the source really emphasizes, is precisely that contrast between worldly peace and my peace. Worldly peace is almost always conditional, isn't it?
Yeah, based on circumstances.
Exactly. It's often dependent on external circumstances that are, by their very nature, fleeting and unpredictable. Think about it. Worldly peace is the calm you feel when your finances are stable, when there's no immediate conflict in your family or at work, when your health is perfect, or when your relationships are sailing smoothly. It's the absence of external trouble.
Which never lasts forever, usually.
Right. But what happens when the market crashes, or an unexpected bill arrives, when a loved one faces a crisis, when your own health falters, or when a relationship encounters a storm? That worldly peace can shatter instantly because its foundation is entirely external, built on circumstances beyond our full control.
So it's fragile.
Very fragile. However, this divine peace, as presented by the source, is described as an internal, abiding state that transcends external turmoil. It's a peace that isn't dependent on things being perfect around you.
Yeah.
It's a peace that isn't easily, if at all, disrupted by the inevitable challenges and difficulties of life. It's a profound difference, a peace that exists within an inner anchor that holds firm, regardless of what's happening without. The surprising insight is the radical internal nature of this peace, a counter-narrative to our usual quest for external tranquility.
That's a truly transformative concept. To have an internal peace that isn't contingent on external circumstances, a peace that can withstand the storms of life. The source really details the specific effects this peace is said to have, which are incredibly potent for someone experiencing heartbreak. It calms anxiety, removes fear, and replaces sorrow with hope.
Wow.
I mean, for someone with a broken heart, imagine how profoundly transformative those specific effects would be. It speaks directly to the core debilitating symptoms of emotional pain.
Let's analyze each of those components, because they address the multifaceted nature of heartbreak so directly and comprehensively. First, calming anxiety. When your heart is broken, your mind is often a tempest, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Racing thoughts.
A relentless stream of what-ifs, constant worry about the past, the present moment, and the daunting future. An internal sense of peace, as described here, can quiet that restless mind, providing a still point, a quiet center in the heart of the emotional storm. It's like finding a calm eye in a hurricane.
Okay, that sounds good.
Second, removing fear. Heartbreak is almost always accompanied by a host of fears. The fear of continued unending pain, the fear of never recovering, the fear of being unable to cope with daily life, or even the fear of future relationships or a future lived alone.
Yeah, fear of the unknown future is huge.
It is. This divine peace, as described, directly addresses and alleviates these fears, not necessarily by making them disappear entirely, but by disarming their power to paralyze you. It offers an inner fortitude.
So it reduces their power.
Exactly. And third, replacing sorrow with hope. Now, this isn't about merely suppressing sorrow or pretending it doesn't exist, which would be an unhealthy denial.
Right, not denial.
It's about actively transforming that deep sense of loss and pain into a forward-looking state of hope. This implies a fundamental shift in emotional orientation, moving from despair and a focus on what was lost to an anticipation of a brighter future, a different outcome, and the potential for restoration. It's the idea that even in the deepest valley, you can still see the possibility of a mountain peak.
Okay.
This internal reservoir of peace, therefore, could provide incredible resilience, allowing one to navigate difficulties with an inner calm that isn't dependent on external solutions or immediate resolutions to their problems. It's about cultivating an inner sanctuary, a place within you that is unshakable.
An inner sanctuary. I imagine for many, their inner world feels more like a chaotic construction site when they're heartbroken, with everything crumbling around them. How does one even begin to lay the first stone for such a sanctuary, according to this piece, when everything feels like it's falling apart?
That's a very real question.
Because the verse concludes with an instruction, not just a gift. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. This suggests that while peace is freely given, there's also an active choice or reception required on our part.
You hit on a vital point there, and it's a crucial aspect of this piece. The command to let not implies agency.
Agency, okay.
While the peace is presented as a divine gift freely offered, the instruction suggests that individuals have the capacity within this theological framework to choose not to succumb entirely to fear and trouble. It's not about denying your feelings. Heartbreak is real. Sorrow is a natural and necessary response, and you shouldn't suppress it.
Definitely not.
Instead, it's an invitation to actively embrace the offered peace, to consciously lean into it, rather than passively allowing trouble and fear to dominate your entire being.
So it's a conscious turning towards it.
It seems so. This isn't about a magical switch that turns off all pain, but about where one places their trust and focus during distress. Do you allow the fear and trouble to define your state, consuming your entire perspective, or do you consciously engage with and lean into the peace that is offered? It speaks to an internal locus of control, a decision to engage with the comfort, rather than be consumed by the pain. It's a recognition that even in our deepest pain, we may have a degree of agency in how we respond and where we direct our internal gaze. It's about choosing to open the door to that inner sanctuary, even if the external world is in chaos.
We've explored these three incredibly powerful verses individually, each offering a distinct, profound facet of comfort. But now let's try and bring it all together. So what does this all mean? How do these three ancient insights, when woven together, form a truly comprehensive, holistic framework for addressing heartbreak, as described in our source material? How do they build upon each other to offer, well, a complete balm?
Right. If we bring these threads together, these three promises, when woven into a cohesive whole, they address the multifaceted nature of human suffering due to a broken heart in a truly comprehensive and layered way. Heartbreak is rarely a single simple emotion, is it?
No, definitely not. It's complex.
It's a complex tapestry woven with threads of profound loneliness, acute piercing pain, overwhelming anxiety about the future, and often paralyzing fear. The source, by presenting these three verses in what can be seen as a natural progression, offers a comprehensive balm, speaking directly to each of these distinct layers of distress.
Addressing all the different parts of the pain.
Exactly. It provides comfort for the feeling of abandonment, active divine intervention for the pain itself, and an enduring sense of calm for the accompanying anxiety and fear that so often paralyze us. So, to synthesize, we can identify three core interconnected elements that form this divine balm for the brokenhearted, according to the source. First, there's the foundational comfort of proximity and presence from Psalm 34.18. This is the radical assurance that when you are at your absolute lowest, feeling most alone, most forgotten, there is a divine presence that actively draws near.
The nighness.
The nighness, exactly. It fundamentally counters the crushing weight of isolation and validates your experience simply by being with you in your pain.
Yeah.
It's the profound comfort of knowing you don't have to carry the burden or even face it alone. It's the initial vital comfort that acknowledges your suffering and meets you right there.
It's that immediate sense of being seen, heard, and acknowledged, isn't it? That someone or something beyond our comprehension is there, holding you in that incredibly vulnerable, raw space. That feels like a powerful and essential first step in healing.
Absolutely. Then, building robustly on that comforting presence, we have the second element, active healing and care, from Psalm 147.3. This moves beyond mere companionship to a promise of direct, personal, and meticulous restoration.
The healer steps in.
The healer steps in. It's the assurance that this state of brokenness, however profound, is not a permanent condition, that there is an active process of mending taking place. It's akin to that loving, expert physician meticulously tending to a child's wounds, cleaning, binding, protecting, and allowing time for recovery. This provides tangible hope, transforming the experience of pain from an endless, static state to a dynamic journey with a clear, healing trajectory.
So not just a shoulder to cry on, which is invaluable in itself, but also the active, gentle, and expert hands that begin to mend the actual wound. That's a crucial progression from just being present. It moves into active intervention and tangible hope.
Precisely. And finally, the third element completes the picture. The unconditional internal peace from John 14.27. This is the unique, profound gift of a peace that isn't dependent on external circumstances, a peace that worldly conditions cannot give or take away.
Not as the world goes.
Exactly. It acts as an inner anchor, calming the relentless waves of anxiety, actively removing the paralyzing grip of fear, and fundamentally replacing the deep sorrow with an abiding sense of hope. This peace offers an incredible internal resilience, a quiet, unshakable strength that allows you to navigate external turbulence, the ongoing challenges, the unexpected setbacks, without being completely capsized by it. It's the ability to find a still point within yourself, a deep well of calm, even when everything around you is in motion and chaos.
Wow. When you put them all together like that, the cumulative effect is quite profound, isn't it? It's like a complete system for not just surviving heartbreak, but actually moving through it with a degree of grace and inner strength. The source's ultimate summary really brings it home in a powerful way. God is close, He is your healer, and His peace is greater than your pain.
It truly sounds like internalizing these 3 points could fundamentally shift one's perspective and experience during suffering, offering a comprehensive framework for endurance, hope, and eventual restoration. Indeed. From the distinct perspective of this source material, this combination offers not just temporary relief, but a comprehensive pathway to profound comfort and ultimately holistic restoration. By addressing the deep-seated loneliness, the acute experience of pain, and the internal turmoil of anxiety and fear, it enables one to navigate emotional wounds with a renewed sense of hope, an unwavering inner stability, and a profound conviction that healing is not just possible, but divinely assured.
That's a powerful promise.
It transforms the experience from being merely an enduring of pain to a purposeful process of healing, growth, and renewed strength, supported by these fundamental ancient assurances.
What an incredible deep dive we've had today, tracing a thoughtful path through these 3 powerful ancient verses, Psalm 34.18, Psalm 147.3, and John 14.27. We've really unpacked the core messages of divine closeness in our pain, the promise of active, meticulous healing, and the transformative gift of an unparalleled internal peace. Our mission was to provide you with a shortcut to being well-informed about the specific ancient approach to finding comfort, and I truly believe we've illuminated some profound insights that speak to the universal human experience of a broken heart.
And if you're carrying heartbreak today, perhaps remember this. The source reminds us of 3 powerful truths to hold on to. God is close, He is your healer, and His peace is greater than your pain.
Simple but profound.
It's exactly. These insights, derived directly from these ancient texts, offer a powerful perspective on not just enduring deep emotional pain, but on finding a path toward profound comfort and ultimately overcoming it. They provide a robust framework for hope and resilience, precisely when you might feel most entirely lost or without direction. Now, for a final thought, building on this rich material that we've explored today. If the peace offered here is indeed not as the world giveth, implying an internal, unwavering calm independent of external circumstances, What personal practices or shifts in perspective might allow you to more fully access and experience such an enduring internal calm, even when the world around you remains turbulent and profoundly challenging?
That's a truly powerful question to sit with, isn't it? A challenge to seek an inner sanctuary no matter the storm, something to ponder and perhaps explore in your own life long after our deep dive today.
Hmm.
We encourage you to reflect on these profound ideas and consider what they might mean for your own journey towards healing and peace.